attacking methods. So sometimes it's fun to see how runners choose to handle it.
Yeah, it looks like we're off.
And Uncle is apparently a straight player. Doesn't want Link infringing on his game, but that's not going to happen.
Some early literacy we'll have there. We'll be reading for days.
Link says, reading is for nerds. It's time to go open chests and find randomized content. The Uncle talks a mad game and spits hot fire, but he's secretly a big fan of cozying up with a book.
See what else he's a big fan of cozying up with.
Yeah, we'll see. There's 7 choices. Ooh, the fire rod. A solid choice, I think.
Yeah, it's very kills stuff very, very fast, but it does have limited ammunition. Farming up a bomb could be troublesome.
Yeah, that is definitely the catch-22. One thing I like seeing a lot of runners do is making good use of pots and kind of free kills in the early parts of the escape to really maximize guard kills.
Yeah.
Just to try to farm for those bombs.
Yeah, we'll probably be seeing a lot out of both runners.
Both runners making pretty good time, getting out of the rain, enjoying the nice warm castle with its red carpet and inviting gold color scheme.
All those nasty, nasty guards as well.
Yeah, both runners opting to blow right past any extra pots, so they must be not super worried about bomb drops. Or they're electing not to waste time on the slim chance of them.
It's nice to get the first couple of chests out of the way first and see if we get some bombs before we waste time on bombs. There's lots of kills in the sewer anyway, lots of snakes and things.
So we see Kermit grabbing the relatively quick kill there with the pot. Again, these runners are trying to get kills because they are trying to find at least one bomb so they can check the back of escape conveniently without having to come back later for it. And these guards burn nice and quick. Ooh, $300. Worst case scenario, they'll be able to buy some bombs at Kakariko without having to go out of their way too much for them.
Kermit finding that large magic refill will definitely facilitate a few more kills.
Yeah, that's always nice to find. When those full magic prize packs are early in the drop table, especially when you have Fire Rod, because it's just so mana hungry.
Yeah, fastest chain guard kill in a while.
Yep. Oh, Bombos. It is an explosive hot seed.
Yeah, might be useful to get in a new dungeon, but with the Fire Rod it won't be serving any purposes in Ice Palace, unfortunately.
I'm pretty excited for the super hot start here.
See if we kill any more guards on the way out.
Doesn't look like it. Oh, there's plenty of chances to get 2-for-1 kills on rats in the back of escape with the Fire Rod too, if that's where you're choosing to spend your few mana shots. Some runners might elect not to spend a lot of time trying to kill guards because the rat that has the key in the back of escape can be very hard to hit with the Fire Rod sometimes if he's really dodgy.
Yeah, that rat's been known to troll the best of people. There's Dragon getting his large magic container.
Yep, both runners getting the drop on that part of the drop table. That's pretty nice to see. The dragon will be happy. He'll have a few more shots to spend. Maybe he'll try to burn some snakes alive or something just to see if he can fish for a bomb drop.
Crispy snakes.
And both runners hitting the shelf behind the throne room a little before 420. Outside of the jokes, I like to use 420 as kind of a pretty decent benchmark for your run to let you know you've been going at a pretty good clip.
Yeah, it's a good pace for with the Fire Rod.
Yeah, the Pew Pew Laser's Fire Rod is fast. Yep, we see Dragon using those shots. Comes up short. Same with Kermit. No bomb drops. Feels bombs, man. Oh, and the bow!
It's a very interesting start. That gives us full access to Eastern when we get out of here, and it also means we could farm some more stuff in here. We have we have no arrows.
I was gonna say, if in addition to no bomb drops, they've also got no arrow drops. Yeah, we'll see if without the lantern, the Eastern is technically not in the logic, but both these runners, I think, very capable of. Oh no, Kermit the rat! Oh, he got mini trolled.
All of Dragon's magic got in the round.
Oh, he picks up a magic refill. Oh, that was crazy. And Kermit picking up a bomb. All right, so this is a pretty key difference between these two runners here. We'll see if anything is in the back of escape here. Whole lot of nothing.
Let's see if Dragon opts to come back for that. He undoubtedly will, but the longer he leaves that, the more time you'll save.
Yep. It's one of those things that weighs on the back of your mind. You know, when it's a little bit different if you're running like a large nightly race or something, but in a one-on-one scenario in a tournament, you really want to do everything you can to minimize the chance of one item just blowing out your race and costing you 20 minutes. And putting off a check like that when you think your opponent might have gotten it is always worrisome. We got Kermit correctly recognizing that map had to be the only chest left in Sanctuary, and remembering to skip it. So very heads-up play by Kermit there.
There's a 20 rupee pull from Dragon. It's going to fund a Zora fund, maybe? And small magic off the crab is definitely going to be useful, with Fire Rod being their primary source of damage.
Oh yeah. Of course, the crab threw that magic refill in a pretty annoying place. I did not quite catch that aginah lumberjack tree check, did you?
I did not either. It looks like Kermit's on his way up to check over.
Yeah, we'll get a second shot here. Looks like Kermit had a little bit better luck with the crab dropping the magic refills. Alright, we got a chat informing us that it was a piece of heart, so thanks, chat. Yep. And confirmed on Kermit's stream. Wow, the power gloves for Dragon over there.
It's a handy find. It'll facilitate some checks later on. It's part of our Dark World access as well. 1/3 of it down.
Another one of those 100% required items. Man, it's been a pretty progression-heavy seed so far.
Strictly speaking, logically, we haven't really unlocked anything, but it's a lot of stuff that's important. Lots of chests in Kakariko to make up that difference.
We've unlocked a lot of fun, though. Burning things alive in 2 different ways. Variety is the spice of life, my friend.
2 different ways to enter dark rooms as well.
Alright, so we see Dragon not having any bombs is opting to check the back of Tavern and then jump down to this shop down here. He'll pay 50 bucks for 10 bombs. Not a terrible deal.
See Kermit on his way to the pedestal straight away. Can you put that literacy to use?
Yeah, and again, in a one-on-one tournament setting, taking the extra 40 seconds to check this could be very beneficial. It ends up not being the case with just a piece of heart in the pedestal. So at 8 minutes and 40 seconds, the pedestal dream is already dead. Sorry, chat.
I'm sure they'll be disappointed.
I'm already seeing a lot of rips. Meanwhile, we got Dragon making the rest of his Kakariko village sweep.
Put those bombs to good use.
Alright, we got Soggy Piece of Heart in the well. Another Soggy Piece of Heart in the well. Kermit entering the well hoping for a bomb drop, does not find one, so he'll have to purchase bombs and come back in here if he wants to complete his Kakariko sweep.
And we'll undoubtedly see that out of him. Unfortunately, it's just a quarter of heart, but he isn't to know that.
Yeah, it's definitely a bold move to skip a location like that so early.
See Dragon heading off into Blind's hut. Get all his loot.
solving the ridiculous block puzzle. I think everybody who looked at that puzzle the first time probably messed it up. But when you speedrun the game, you figure out the fastest way pretty quick.
Yep. Glories of playing the same game 10 times a day.
Yeah, also that. Good old repetition mastery.
Nothing of massive interest in Kakariko so far.
Yeah, Kakariko's been pretty dry for progression, it looks like. But there's still plenty of places to check left. I'd say that the lack of the pedestal check and slightly more efficient Kakariko routing with buying those bombs early has given Dragon just a bit of a lead here. But it's not too tremendous.
Yeah, this early in the race, it doesn't make a massive amount of difference. And with Dragon having not checked the back of escape, that's going to be weighing in his mind to lose some time later.
Alright, race game has got nothing.
Let's see, maybe see Dragon head off to Eastern, or will we head off to South Shore?
South Shore's not a terrible play right now. Perhaps he's putting off Eastern. I mean, we haven't even gotten a map check from either one of these runners, so they might not commit all the way to Eastern until maybe they know what they're dealing with, perhaps. It's hard to tell.
True.
Alright, let's see what we got in the dam. Just $20.
A lot of big 20s here.
Those damn chests, always a problem. Yeah, it's pretty unusual to be... I mean, at $660, you've got enough for Zora, Pod, and most of your way to digging game, so it's kind of unusual to be at a point in the seed where you don't care as much about money this early.
Yeah, we'll have another soggy piece of heart. We have our map check. We have a blue pendant at Torvera and a red crystal at Eastern, a standard crystal at Desert. So Eastern might be a play that the runners will look at soon.
Yeah, I could see that being a pretty worthwhile play for sure. Alright, so we've got... Oh man, hitting mini Moldorms with a bow is a lot harder than it looks. Ooh, Dragon's got one heart left.
He's spotted his bombos.
Yeah,
no
forgetting that you need a sword, unfortunately, to cast bombos.
That's unfortunate.
Does
Okay,
manage to cook all the mini
Pyro.
Moldorms with exactly the right amount of magic, though. Kermit doing the race game without looking. He'll be rewarded with just $20. Meanwhile, Generous Guy Cave, not that great.
Yeah, more money in that. See Dragon heading off to the Ice Rock Cave. Hopefully he doesn't take a hit from a crab, because those things hit like a truck.
Yes, they do. 2 hearts of damage to Greenmail, so any body damage by a crab would be instant death. Wow, Lux into another full magic refill. Probably part of the same drop table since it was so early and he took a lot of damage. Alright, we got our first route divergence. Kermit heading over to Eastern instead of South Shore. We know that to be a good place so far, unless something really incredible is an Ice Rod Cave here, but again, Kermit does not know that.
Let's see what Sahasrahla is keeping in his closet.
The old Sahash garage check. Oh, Flute's in Ice Rod Cave! And Mit's in the back of Sahasrahla's garage! Wow! We got amazing item drops in stereo here. So both of these runners with a slightly different advantage over each other right now.
Yeah, I could see some pretty severe route divergence coming up. Looks like Kermit's going to head into Eastern. You could see Dragon, he's going to check escape. And then might see him check or like use that, activate that flute and head off somewhere else.
Yeah, this is pretty incredible. It's worth noting though that both of these runners are still going to be kind of route gated by Moon Pearl, since we have not seen that yet.
Yeah, there's Agnum still on the table.
Yeah, I think at this point the only thing that would require Agnum, I think, is Moon Pearl on Pyramid. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, yeah.
So the pedestal dream might be dead, but the Aghanim dream's still alive.
Just a compass in the first chest in Eastern.
Actually, we could have Mirror on Pyramid, and then Moon Pearl could be in Checkerboard Cave.
Well, that we could, with Titans in the flip, we can get over there. That would be super trolly.
That would be incredible. All right. Meanwhile, we've got Kermit solving the hardest puzzle in the entire game. Oh my God! There was a button under that pot, and it opened the door. Incredible level design.
Dragon's activating his flip. We'll see where he goes after this. Probably off the Eastern.
Yeah, the early flute find is very nice. It does speed up your overworld checks. Speaking of checks, Dragon double checking that map so he's aware of his crystal locations. Opting to check the desert ledge here. Just 20 bucks. Looks like he's gonna walk it all the way in. I do like this play. With it does, a lot of runners like to think that early book means, desert a lot of the times. And with a fire source and the lift upgrade, desert is most likely clearable unless the key is on the torch, which requires the boots.
Yeah, there's a reasonable chance that we can clear this dungeon.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully.
And even just knowing that you need boots or not for this dungeon is pretty useful information.
Yeah, definitely is.
Dragon putting some game knowledge to use there, picking up the pots that have arrow drops. Meanwhile, Kermit correctly using the torch to make one of the toughest dark rooms in the game a lot more easier to manage.
And Fire Rod coming up dividends there. Dragon making short work of Desert Pass. The key in the small chest means he can probably clear the dungeon. The big
If
key
this isn't big key, he'll be in trouble. Oh, Moon Pearl in Desert.
There's another required item, and I think Aga's dead. There's a small chance that we need him if the hammer is like on Pyramid Ferry or something.
Wow. Yeah, I think the Aghanim Dream is dead, unfortunately. An interesting route diversion, though, because Kermit has found the mitts. We have Dark World access knowledge between the two runners, but neither one of them has full access quite yet. The red Igor is giving Kermit a bit of trouble. Does manage to two-cycle him, though. Killing those Popo groups without a sword is a lot more difficult than it looks.
Yeah, definitely so. They like to just scurry just out of the way of your bow.
Armos Knight's getting a little bit away from Kermit, but he recovers nicely.
Looks like there is an item in the vanilla big key chest.
Yeah, Kermit did go with the what I like to call the Eastern Palace Gambit, where you skip that chest in hopes that Armos Knight has the last item. I'm curious if Kermit's going to go back for it. Yeah, he is. That's always rough. But again, in a tournament setting... Oh, nope. He changed his mind.
He just needs to be aware of that item he's left behind. It could be costly in the future. Hopefully it won't be.
Alright, so Dragon will be picking up his mitts over here. So Dragon will have full... well, not full Dark World access, but access to quite a few locations at this point.
Let's see if he has Eastern, he does.
Yeah, you're already halfway here, and it's a crystal dungeon, and you can complete it.
Yeah, it's probably a good call.
Yeah, this is definitely a call I like, even though he's got a lot more locations he can check. Checking this now and completing it is another one of those things that reduces some variance. Reduces the chance that you get blown out by some incredible item being weirdly out of sequence in Eastern Palace. And who knows, maybe we'll catch, maybe Dragon will opt to check the vanilla big key chest behind the dark rooms, and maybe we'll get a look at that.
It'd be nice to see what Kermit left behind for future knowledge.
We have a question in chat. Where was Flute? Flute was in Ice Rod Cave.
See if Kermit heads over there now. He's heading to the mini Moldorm cave. Who knows if he'll go all the way.
Yeah, with Mitts, you're really going to be on the lookout for a Moon Pearl or some other item. So I think putting off Ice Rod Cave would be an unusual choice for him at this kind of point in his progression. But anything's possible.
See both runners going through areas that the other's gone through already. And Kermit picking up his net and lots of money.
Yeah, he can put all those rupees in the net and use it kind of like a highlight scoop. Just like start throwing rupees at his enemies. I mean, they don't have a sword, so maybe that would be useful. I don't know. And that bird apparently does not like rocks. But yeah, looks like we're going to be getting Ice Rod Cave check from Kermit, so he'll be picking up his flute quite shortly. If Kermit decides to go straight to Desert after this, which would not be a crazy play, he'll have closed the gap between him and Dragon quite nicely.
Yeah, I think at the minute his only real choices are Desert Palace or like a couple of chests at Death Mountain. So I could see a Desert play shortly.
Yeah, Death Mountain could seem like an attractive kind of small to medium gamble because Flute does put those locations kind of firmly in the logic. And he might be comfortable with the dark room without a sword, but man, doing that old man dark room without a sword or a hookshot or boomerang is a lot harder than it looks.
Oh, definitely. We see Dragon off on his way to the big key chest. We can see what Kermit left behind.
Yeah, this could be pretty huge if it's something important, because if the odds of Kermit routing this in or sooner rather than later are pretty small, I think. Just a piece of heart, though.
Good for Kermit, bad for Dragon. At least he knows.
Yeah, having that knowledge is definitely very nice. Having the cloud of pedestal hanging over you during the entire race can be distracting sometimes.
Yeah, it definitely can.
The second swag duck anthem.
See Dragon lighting the torch. Kermit straight over to the desert.
Yep, I do like this play from Kermit, and we know it to be the correct one. Although it looks like he's routing in Aginah first.
And Dragon opted to do that the other way around and came out of the right-hand exit of Desert, the exit nobody uses, and hopped down the Aginahs.
I do like this play from Kermit. A lot of people will choose to route in the Aginah cave check after they do the right side of Desert, because the weird, infrequently used right side exit of Desert does put you very close to Aginah's cave. But it's hard to know if the routing in Desert and the key layout will actually support that move. So sometimes it's nice just to do it first, just to be done with it.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's always the possibility that the boots or maybe a fire source, if you're lacking one, is in Aginah's cave. Aginah's cave is a pretty lucrative site, I find.
Yeah, that jerk's always hiding something. He tried to plaster up that wall, try to hide his treasure chest. We know where it is, though.
See Dragon bagging his first crystal.
All right, so we got tied up crystals, 1-to-1 here, and Kermit is about one Moon Pearl find behind Dragon right now, plus or minus a few chests. So these runners are definitely pretty close.
You see Dragon heading straight off the Dark World via the Village of Outcasts way. Might see a Skullwoods clear, well, most of a Skullwoods clear, or maybe a check in Thieves Town.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
without a sword or source of more consistent damage, you could technically kill Mothula with exactly 8 fire rod shots, but man, would that be difficult and not recommended.
well, we need a sword to chop down a curtain, unfortunately, so we
Oh
can't.
yes, good call.
Yeah.
Although I was technically correct, which is the best kind of correct.
Of course.
All right, we're gonna see Kermit picking up his Moon Pearl here, so he'll be very happy to find that. And I have a feeling he's just going to exit this dungeon and flute right away, or maybe he's going to go. We pretty much know that the big key has to be on the torch at this point, I think.
Yeah, I think he just realized there that the only accessible location left is the torch, so we are a bit locked.
So boots are going to be required in this seed, and not just required for feel good moving fast. Oop, Kermit accidentally he forgot to take a selfie at the strange exited desert, so he had to, get out his cell phone, get the camera ready. Then he was ready to leave.
See Kermit heading straight off to the Mara area. Get a check on what medallions are required.
I really like this check because it's fully utilizing almost every progression item that you've gotten so far. All right, we got ourselves a map check. Red pendant, Skull Woods, blue pendant, swamp, everything else a crystal. Kermit taking a nice long look, but honestly, I would rather have a 100% correct tracker than to make that kind of mistake.
Yeah, definitely agree there. And Dragon taking an intentional death in the big key room in Skullwoods.
All right, not a whole lot in the Mire Shed. So just because Kermit cannot access and get to Mothula, which my co-commentator correctly pointed out to me, does not mean that this first chest down here is not accessible. So Dragon will be checking out this chest in Skull Woods that was fire rod locked. See if we can get any hits down here. No, just a burrito.
That's us with an item on Mothula.
Yep, that is correct.
Big key in Mothula, in fact.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Either the item itself or what will lead to an item. We've got Kermit making a similar play here. I think most of these runners are going to be putting off Thieves Town until they have a means with which to kill blind, pretty consistently. Either that's a sword or Cane of Samaria or something along those lines. Cane of Brino would do it, although that would be difficult without a mana refill.
Yeah, definitely a bit. Can we even hurt blind at the minute?
No. No, we can't.
Hopefully we'll find some sort of weapon that'll do the job relatively soon. Just a bomb capacity upgrade in the treasure chest game.
Yeah, that's a little less exciting. Dragon opening the entrance to Thieves Town, but not quite entering it. Again, putting off blind until you have a means to kill him, not a terrible idea. It doesn't mean you can't complete the front of the dungeon, though.
Yeah, our lack of hammer might be putting the runners off a bit, leaving the big chest in Thieves Town unopened is always one of those awkward feelings.
Agreed. And I'd say, since Thieves Town is so accessible, since they have the flute and the mitts, I think taking Dark World routing down to like Hype Cave and doing all those checks would be a pretty good use of your time.
Yeah, I agree there. We have our first meal upgrade in the bombable hut.
Yeah, it is always nice to see blue mail. Blue mail is always welcome.
Yeah, especially 7 hearts in Dark World. You're little dangerous.
Yeah, just a bit. Oh, Kermit getting master-handed, waiting for that stupid mummy to get out of the way. And he just decides to leave.
Nah.
Man, we've all been there before. Well, luckily, we know that not to be anything important, but Kermit does not know that. Meanwhile, Dragon, attempting to dig up the same spot multiple times, not having any luck, does eventually find the triple boom there.
15 digs is pretty average. He's heading over to grab the blacksmith, in fact. Take him on a world tour.
Yeah, I'd say with, and again, with the flute just speeds up a lot of overworld movement. So while normally without the flute, this would be pretty time consuming, you would go down and do this Dark World South loop all the way to Hype Cave. And then you'd have to save and quit and walk the frog all the way over to Kakariko. But with the flute, it's a lot quicker. So you don't feel quite as punished for making this move. So I do like this play by Dragon here, pretty heads up thinking. And I have a feeling if I was a gambling man that we might see Kermit do much of the same.
Yeah, seems fair. Lack of hammer is... lack of way to kill blind are definitely incentives to keep us out of Thieves Town for the time being.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Hammer would do the trick. Hammer would fully unlock everything in Thieves Town and also give us the means to kill blind. Doing Hammer blind is kind of crappy, but sometimes you gotta do what the seed wants you to do.
See how hype cave is today? I could see it being pretty hype. We've exhausted a lot of options.
I'd say the hype percent chance is pretty high, but I've been disappointed before. Oh, we're already maximum hype for 1 out of 5. Ooh, bottle could be progression bottle. Wow! Are you kidding me? Hype cave delivering 3 out of 5 items with the ice rod and the sword. Good lord.
Bottle's nothing to sneeze at.
No, I mean, for all we know, that could be a progression bottle because it's the first bottle we've seen. On Hammer in Thieves Town, are you kidding me?
That's pretty trolly.
What? What is this seed? Oh my gosh. Wow, so once again, this is the second time in the seed alien, and we've had both the runners going off in 2 different directions and both finding progression items.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting seed. Good luck to our tracker.
Wow. Now, I had to say, with Dragon finding that fighter sword, he's going to be very tempted to go into Thieves Town right now. So I could see him going in there, but boy, it's hard to tell. Master Sword, wow, vanilla sword upgrade at the Smiths.
Nice. Yeah, I could see him heading straight off to Thieves Town.
He could also go to Skull Woods. Oh, nope. He's taking that sword and he's doing Dark Old Man strats. I still want to know what this old man is doing in a cave in the dark by himself with bats. Weird.
I think the theory is that he lost his lamp on the way or something.
Oh, I know the lore reasons. I know why he tells us that. I want to know the truth. He's got these bats growing some kind of illegal operation. I just know it. Let's see what the old man pays Link for his silence. Oh, Kermit taking a death in the Hellway. That is a rough room. He was already a little low on hearts and just had some bad enemy pattern, movement luck. And since Kermit does not have the sword, he's going to most likely be put in a situation where he's going to have to take out blind with just the hammer.
It's never a nice feeling.
No. Question in chat, what is the record for these two? Both of these players are 1-0 in the Swiss tournament, so they each have 1 victory and 0 losses.
Bag up their second win.
Oh, Kermit taking more damage from these horse heads. He's going to have 1 heart to get through this Hellway again. Let's see how he does. Gets a little bit nicer pattern this time. Oh my god! Half a heart! Wow! Oh, he just barely makes it through. Nice.
I think we're all clenching there.
Yeah, jeez.
See Dragon making the play in the Thieves Town as well. He's gonna die immediately and then probably find his hour.
Yeah, that had to have been an intentional death to get a heart refill there. So with Dragon entering Thieves Town here, he is going to be getting his hammer pretty quickly, and he's going to have an infinitely easier time with blind than Kermit will because he will have the sword. Unless, of course, a third sword upgrade is somehow in Thieves Town, which with the way this seed has been going, I wouldn't put it past it.
Yep, seems fair.
Dragon taking a lot of incidental damage from horsehead enemies that are behind these platforms.
Yeah, you just no idea where they are. You don't really have a lot of choice but to just go for it.
Oh, yeah. That could put him on Hellway damage watch, though. Ooh, nice use of hammer by Kermit there. The hammer hitbox is deceptively difficult to use.
Yeah, you definitely want to be getting those horizontal attacks in. It seems to have a bigger hitbox that way. Going up or down just does not work. And that horse was not friendly in the slightest.
That's not a great place to die. Luckily, the bombed Skyway light does stay after you die, so he won't have to go up and do that again. But man, 2 deaths in Thieves Town, 2 unintended deaths in Thieves Town is really costing Kermit some time here, unfortunately.
And we saw Dragon doing a bit of farming in the first room, checking a few pots for some hearts.
Yeah, there are a few heart drop locations in Thieves Town. Not in that room. So yeah, Dragon with the sword will have a little easier time in the Hellway here. We got a Hellway high five going on right now between these 2 runners, and Dragon just getting terrible enemy movement patterns there. Yikes.
A lot of unavoidable damage there. This is why it's called the Hellway.
Yep. It's built right into the name. Yeah, that was some of the worst enemy patterns I've seen in the Hellway there in some time.
See.
So in that big conveyor belt room, there is a heart in the bottom left corner. A lot of runners will opt to pick that up when they've taken more damage than they like in Thieves Town.
See, Kermit makes it through the whatever that room is. Doesn't really have a name.
Killing that red horse head is very nice in this room because it stops him from shooting fireballs at you while you're trying to escape.
Yeah, definitely a good choice.
Oh yeah, and Kermit actually making very good use of the vertical hammer hitbox there. One of the hardest things to do in this game is to hit people with a hammer while you're going facing either north or south, and getting a quick hit like that is always impressive to see.
Yeah, it definitely is. See, nothing at all in the big chest. Well, piece of heart. See what blind's holding.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough fight for Kermit, I think. 7 heart blind. He does have blue mail, which is nice, but literally the only thing he has that does damage to blind is the hammer.
It's not the best way to be, but hopefully he can pull it off.
Keep your eyes on the left side of the screen here, guys. Oh, a very nice phase 1 from Kermit. That is almost textbook for a hammer blind fight. Alright, only 2 damage in phase 2. He's dodging fireballs like a mofo. Come on, man, you got this. Oh, blind with the laser. 1, 2. Oh, and he nails it! Kermit showing up huge with the hammer blind fight. Wow, I am color me impressed. That is very impressive to see, especially after all his problems earlier on in the Thieves Town area here. It has to be super satisfying for Kermit to pull that off.
Yeah, that was a fantastic fight on his part.
Yeah, and on the right side of the screen, you do see Dragon with the preferred method of killing blind with a sword. Ends up with the same amount of hearts left that Kermit did, though.
See Kermit doing the South Dark World checks now. See where Dragon heads off.
Yeah, Kermit looks like electing to put off the frog check, perhaps for later. That will mean he will be missing out on Master Sword unless he routes it in later. I have a feeling we might see some rage slashes from Kermit once he goes to Hype Cave and finds his first sword.
Well, Kermit might make the same route as Dragon did and head up and grab him after the digging game.
Oh yes, that's true. Yeah, good call. I always forget the can't have anything following you requirement for the digging game there.
See Dragon doing the hammer pegs very, very slowly.
Yeah, no reason to put it off. It feels slow to check it with without boots, but what you gonna do?
And Kermit does pick up his frog with double frog action. Opts to not check Stumpy and Hype Cave for the time being.
Ooh, putting off Hype Cave, a risky move. I mean, he will get one sword upgrade from turning in this blacksmith, so it's not crazy.
Another thing is that, unlike Dragon, whenever he was in the area, Kermit knows he has the hammer, so it's pretty easy to get back to Hype Cave.
Yep, very true. I mean, he could be planning on going to Pod next. Like, if he gets the sword here and feels comfortable with his dark pod routing, he might elect to go there. It looks like Dragon is doing the same thing.
Yeah, given our items, we aren't being given a lot of choices. Lack of mirror hookshot is ruling out all of Death Mountain, and there's not a lot of other places to go.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that one. Still a lot of progression are yet to be found in this seed, though.
Yeah,
it is interesting to note that while the game will want you to have flippers, since Swamp is a pendant, it is possible that these runners could skip out on the flippers requirement and fake flippers their way into Ice Palace.
I'll have to see if that comes into play. Sometimes the flippers just show up whenever you're least expecting them.
Yep, that's true. And in fact, finding flippers and mirror together in the same sphere of progression would point you toward a swamp, which would just feel bad. No one likes going pendant swamp.
See Hermit grabbing, probably going to grab the purple chest and then head down to Hype Cave, making up a little bit of time compared to the Dragon's writing of it. It still has a bit of time to make up from the deaths in Thieves Town, unfortunately.
Yeah, mirrorless bootsless pod routing is actually always a little annoying. Alright, so we see Kermit picking up the Gary's lunchbox treasure chest. Looks like he'll be turning that in real shortly here.
Dragon making good progress through the back half of Pot's Darkness. Opting to keep his key from the left-hand room to open something further back instead of the central door.
Alright. Another annoying... Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Hellway number 2.
Yeah, I was about to say another annoying room to have to do without boots.
Lots and lots of keys so far, as this is pretty standard for Pot's Darkness.
Yep. Pod is one of the more small key heavier dungeons in this game.
See Kermit making his trip to Hype Cave. He'll be well pleased.
Yep. Delicious sword upgrade. Alright, so that's a sword, ice rod, and shield upgrade for Kermit there. Meanwhile, Dragon heading toward the back of Pod. I don't believe we've found the big key yet.
It looks like the big key's in one of these final chests, or possibly even in the dark maze, just to be really annoying.
It could be. Dark Maze not quite as big a deal. Or the bottom, the downstairs area not as big a deal. Oh, hook shot in Pod.
That opens a lot of spots.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a lot of Dark Mountain, or excuse me, a lot of Death Mountain, both light and dark, now accessible.
And that'll definitely be put to good use after we leave past darkness. There's our big key.
Oh, nice. So yeah, Dragon is rewarded with his routing here by skipping a few of the chests early in Pod. So the one advantage he'll have now of having slightly lower health than you would expect at this point in your seed is that if he wants to death warp his way out of this maze, it will not take him quite as long.
Always handy. It's a pain to have mirror in this, or not have mirror in past darkness. Makes a lot of your writing very strange.
Yeah, agreed. Alright, so we got Kermit with the Pyramid of Power check. Alright, let's see what's in the big key chest here. You know, at this point, I'd say heart container is still pretty welcome.
Yeah, you can never have enough hearts, especially at this stage. It's our second bottle on the pyramid.
Not pre-filled or anything. So the RNG god's not quite as generous.
Well, the first one had a fly in it, so
That is true. The old B-Torb. Alright, so Kermit making his way to Pod here, so he will also be finding his hook shot. Oh, and it looks like Dragon electing to death warp here. I think it's hard to tell if he decided if he got a little stuck on the top part or if he just decided that the death warp was the way to go. I have a feeling the death warp decision was the correct one because he made his way through the first part of that maze like a pro.
yes, I think he was sort of considering walking back through the maze and then changed his mind. Like, even if you know how to get through that maze forward, going through it backwards can be a bit awkward.
Yeah, agreed. You do get spoiled by having access to the mirror all the time.
Yeah, definitely do.
I had to say, in terms of routing efficiency, mirror has got to be up there and one of the top items for time saving and efficiency.
Oh yes, most definitely. See the runners taking a lot longer and missing a lot of like checks that they'll have to come back for whenever they get the mirror.
Ooh, a shovel in Pod. That's always interesting.
More fetch quests.
Yay! Ooh, and Cane of Bryna. That is entirely the wrong color of cane that we wanted to see.
That's still nice safety. We're still relatively low on hearts.
I guess you could say that the Pod treasure chests really showed up in spades today, guys. Because spades, another name for shovel. Okay, alright, we'll move on. Alright, so we got Kermit making his way through the Pod here.
How he does with the final dark rooms in Palace Darkness.
The rarely seen
one of the tougher
Palace
rooms.
of Darkness fairy room by Dragon over here. Is he gonna put that net to use? He is.
You really didn't want that bee.
Nope, showing off good game knowledge. It's always better to take, it's always better to take an extra, 30 seconds than risk dying and losing a ton of time, especially in a heads-up tournament match, I think. So if you're not supremely confident in your ability to execute the Dark Turtle Room, taking the time to get the extra health, I think, is very worthwhile. And that Dark Turtle Room is rough.
Oh yes, it definitely is. And those knowing that they were there, remembering you have the net, everything just lined up perfectly for him.
Yeah, that's just solid heads-up play, really. Even though you have the fire rod, all it takes is some bad turtle RNG, I think, for them to start body blocking the fire rod shots and that torch not lighting, and suddenly you can find yourself out of ammo to continue lighting the torch. Alright, so keep your eyes on the right side of the screen here. Dragon's going to be entering that Dark Turtle Room. Ooh, electing not to go for the straight torchlight. Ooh, electing to use Bombos. Now, Bombos will kill any turtle that is flipped over, I believe, but does not touch the turtles that are still shell up. Oh, I think he's got maybe 1 or 2 left. Oh, he's getting low on hearts. Yikes.
Might see that fairy put to good use.
Yeah. But man, you hate to use it if you don't have to, though. I think he's searching for that last turtle right now, and he's close to it. Because it is doing body damage to him. Meanwhile, we see Kermit picking up his hook shots, and Dragon getting that last kill in. So, took a little time, but a successful navigation through that Dark Turtle Room. Ooh, picks up a heart.
The Dragon picking up his second crystal relatively soon. See if Helmsorby is a good boy today.
Nope, it goes immediately to the fireballs. You cursed him. I love it. Yeah, Dragon does have a fairy in a bottle, so Helmasaur not as potentially lethal as he could be, but man, you don't like using that fairy in a bottle unless you have to, but he pulls it off anyway.
Nicely done.
Yeah, some really good boss kill execution from both our runners in this race here. There's a reason why both these guys are 1-0 right now.
See Kermit making his way through the dark maze. Made pretty much the same route through the dungeon that Dragon did.
Oh, did he get a little stuck?
It would seem that way. Whenever he picked up the hook shot, he actually hesitated for a moment. I think he was considering saving quitting there and then. May not be as confident in his dark room navigation, and it is out of the logic.
Yep, that is very true. He might have been like, you know what, let's just go to Death Mountain because there are tons of treasure chests there. The only downside is that he will eventually have to make his way back to Pod just to kill the Helmasaur, but we know that there's no more progression in Palace of Darkness, so the only time Kermit's going to be out is the travel time back to Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, he picked up the big key in the back, so it won't be a particularly long trip. I see Dragon checking out his shovel before he heads up to Death Mountain.
Yeah, not a terrible idea. Again, in a 1v1 tournament scenario, you're really looking to minimize the chances of blowout. So taking a little bit of time to check those one-off locations when they're relatively convenient to do is solid planning. I do like it.
Yeah, just some blueberries at the shovel spot. Both players on their way over to the east side of Death Mountain.
Kermit, or excuse me, Dragon has already checked the Old Man and Spectacle Rock items, so he just gets to go straight over to East Death Mountain over here. Now, because we don't have the mirror, Dragon does have kind of some interesting routing choices. If he wants to check Pendant Hera, he's probably going to have to do so before he commits to a Dark World Warp. So we'll see what he decides to do.
I have all the tools necessary to clear Hera, so he might head up there. We actually have all of the tools necessary to check the Spike Cave as well, so we might see that while we're in the area.
Yeah, that would be a wise play, I think.
See Paradox Cave with half magic, always a useful item.
Yeah, you're always happy to see half magic. That will make the Spike Cave check even easier. Alright, we see the bomb jump attempt from Dragon here. One of the easier, more forgiving bomb jumps, but it still requires a specific setup, and it's one I fail all the time.
Yep, I wouldn't be the first time I failed that bomb jump myself. That Moldorm looks confused.
Yeah, that was very odd. What always kills me is that when the mini Moldworms in Generous Guy Cave manage to switch lanes by going through like the super narrow passageway, like how the heck did they get in there? That always confuses me.
Yeah, they're very unpredictable wee menaces. See Dragon off checking the ether tablet, picking up the ether tablet in fact.
Yeah, I do like this play. It'll be real telling to see if they elect to go into Hera or not.
Just another big 20 for a collection.
These runners are just rolling. It's a Warren Buffett seed. Alright, looks like we are getting a Pendant Hera check from Dragon. And honestly, Hera is a pretty slow, or a pretty quick dungeon rather, so you don't feel too slow when you're checking it.
There's an extra item in here because it is the green pendant. A heart container on the floating island.
Wow, and a wavy coin Quake medallion in the Hera basement. So we'll have to remember that one. If it turns out that either Turtle Rock or Maya were Quake locked, we'll know Pendant Dungeon required.
We got a check in Mara and it is quick, so that's definitely handy.
Yeah, no 100% guaranteed basement quite yet. So we'll see what Kermit decides to do.
You can see him making the Tower of Hera play as well.
Yeah, I think if you're already over here getting Ether, it would be pretty crazy to not check Hera. At the very least, checking to see if it's basement required Hera or not.
It's definitely well worth the trip, given that Quake's a mandatory item.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, I had forgotten when I said that earlier that Myra was Quake. So doing the Hera bomb jump without the boots, which these runners don't have, is a pretty difficult 2-pixel trick. And the price of failure is very high. You actually fall down 2 rooms. So you'll see a lot of people doing kind of the vanilla intended way of getting that big key chest when they're in here, just because it's pretty consistent. And if you fail and the jump, you just drop down and lose so much time.
Yeah, it's not particularly slow as well, because you just fall down to the big chest. You get to walk across the pits.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you can do the bomb jump, that is definitely the fastest way, but yes, it is very difficult. Alright, so we got Hammer and Master Sword Thinkdorm here. Ah! Oh, Dragon. Heads up play, keeping that sword out. Our sword out, stopping him from falling off. That was very well done.
And there's an item in the basement.
I'd say at this point, you're already here. You might as well check the basement. But if you were gambling or felt like you were behind and wanted to try to get back a minute, that would be a play you could make. We see Dragon not making that play, though.
Yeah, probably correct to just get that location out of your mind.
Oh no, Kermit gets the middle hole drop on Moldworm, which is unfortunately a 2-floor penalty. God, I hate
It's horrible to see that
Trollworm.
happen, but sometimes Trollworm just does not like you.
That is always annoying. That's the real downside to hammer Moldworm strats is not having your sword out. I can't stop saying sword out. Not having your sword out means that getting knocked around and into the sides typically means a fall as opposed to something you can bounce back with. And we see Kermit going with those sword strats this time here.
2 spins so far, just 1 more to clean up the fight.
Moldworm not playing nice, hanging out in the corner there, but a nice finish for Kermit there.
Yeah, gets his own back rightly.
Meanwhile, on the right side of your screen, I believe that was a red boomerang for Dragon, so Hair Basement was skippable. Red boomerang, of course, the inferior lag boomerang, Kappa.
Yep, Boomerang Master Race. See Kermit heading in for his red boomerang as well.
Blue Boomerang Master Race. We're boomerang racist here at A Link to the Past Randomizer. So again, Kermit making that Hera play. Pretty smart if you're already here. Using the bomb setup to enjoy his coffee break here.
See Dragon taking the slow dander around Spiral Cave.
Resident
back down Death Mountain. Probably check the dark area or dark world side of it next.
So yeah, both of these runners doing pretty much the max efficiency clear of Death Mountain without the mirror. You check everything on the light side, and then take the portal, and then check the chests on your way up to Turtle Rock. Now, without Samaria, Turtle Rock is not really accessible to us, even if we happen to have the medallion for it.
It'll still be handy to see if we are looking for another medallion for T-Rock. We have a lot of the other equipment we need to get through there. We're just looking for Samaria.
Oh yeah. You're always happy to have that knowledge. Alright, let's see what is in Super Bunny Cave here. Man, walking out of the Hera basement without the mirror just sucks. You have to flick all these crystal switches, and it's just annoying. I'm annoyed just watching him do it.
A whole lot of nothing in Super Bunny.
We'll see if Hookshot Cave has the goods. Yeah, checking the Turtle Rock Medallion first before going into Hookshot Cave, I think is the correct play, because if there's nothing, you can just save and quit out of there and consider your next move.
We see Bombos is the required medallion, which means we have all the medallions we need. So undoubtedly Ether's in here.
Yeah, of course, right? I'd say, so we're missing Boots and Samaria right now for Go mode. And technically Lamp.
Technically correct. The best kind of correct.
Well, and also technically Flippers.
I see Dragon opting to save and quit, not going to check Spike Cave.
He might be doing that now. Nope, he's got the flute out. Did skip Spike Cave here. Interesting.
Looks like Dragon's just going to do Mar. Hope for a Kane and Mar.
Yeah, not a terrible play. Like if you're trying to read the logic, and of course Dragon hasn't been here yet, but if you're trying to read the logic and you know that Meyer is Quake and Hookshot led to Quake, I don't think it's a crazy bad play to go into Mire without Samaria. Samaria could be in there, and it could also be like flippers or something like that that could lead you to your next item. So if Dragon elects to go into Mire here, based on the way the item chain is played out,
And there's
I
very
give
few
that a thumbs up.
locations that are logically open. There's basically just Zora is left. And Spike Cave.
Pretty much, yeah. Now you could fake flipper into Ice Palace. Since it's a crystal, you have to clear it anyway, and you have the hook shot, so you could do bomb jump and kind of do the semi-intended way through Ice Palace. But I like this play by Dragon as well. Like, they're both solid choices. Be real curious to see if we see Kermit elect to do Spike Cave, as you mentioned. He's got to get through what somebody in chat lovingly referred to as Garbage Shot Cave.
Garbage Shot Cave. Yeah, it seems fair.
That's pretty much the case here. Hookshot Cave often has good stuff, but not this time. Ooh, are we going to get a burn a Spike Cave check out of Kermit? Yeah, I do like this play. I haven't found
you're up here. Be rude not to.
Wow, those Lionels just giving him the business. So we see Kermit striking the cardinal directions of that kind of bush compass there, because hearts and fairies have a pretty good chance of being in those locations. But he's only rewarded with a guard who indirectly gives him a heart. Kermit opting to dig for more health only finds more magic refills. Oh, and he gets a fairy. What an incredible dig. Wow. I dig that play. I really do.
Yeah, that was lucky.
That play paid off in spades.
These shovel jokes are great. Often puns.
I couldn't think of any more, so I was just going to be like, shovel. Alright, so Mire. And Mire having lamp and nothing else. So interesting that the game wanted you to double dip Mire. I wonder where he's going to take this lamp.
We see a tempered sword in Spike Cave, which isn't necessary, but it's a very handy item. Definitely speed up the bosses compared to Master Sword.
Yeah, you're never unhappy to get tempered sword. It's a pretty big time save on a lot of bosses and a lot of Ganon's tower and the Ganon fight himself.
Dragon probably heading over for his pyramid check and then maybe off the catfish. Karma picking up some potions, always a good idea.
Yeah, and it always feels bad, man, to go up to catfish when you still got Zora on your plate and not be able to mirror.
I think Karma is getting worried that the big key chest in Eastern is some... Oh, he's checking the green pendant. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I do like this play a lot, actually. I had forgotten that Hera was a green pendant because I have the memory of an ant. But we're only rewarded with Sahasrah's old bomb bag. Which, in retrospect, sounds dirtier when I say it out loud.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I wouldn't want to touch that. You know, Sahasrah, I don't want to put that in my inventory. Why don't you just set that in the corner and I'll come back and get it later.
See Hermit checking the shovel location that he didn't check earlier.
Yeah, and at this point of the game, like if you're thinking about your routing, you know, I think both these runners are probably capable of fake flippering into Ice Palace. But if you end up full clearing Ice Palace, you know, the dream is that flippers somehow led to Samaria. You could just get Samaria and Ice Palace, but you know, it could be that Samaria led to flippers or something like that, and then you'll have full cleared Ice Palace for absolutely no reason. So it's definitely a risky play to make.
Yeah, with this few logical locations left, I do like the catfish play here, and then might see Dragon off to Zora if this is a miss. which it is.
Yep. Do you think fake flippering up and checking all those flipper lock locations would be solid? I could see it going both ways.
Yeah, it looks like that's Kermit's plan. Let's see what Dragon's up to.
Man, if this flipper play ends up turning into Boots or Samaria, it could be pretty incredible for Kermit. He's definitely a little behind Dragon from having to leave pods, so this could be a pretty big pickup for him.
Looks like Dragon's in the same plan. He's heading straight over to the waterfall cave in Zora.
Are you kidding me? The hobo had Samaria. Absolutely incredible.
That's a good payoff from that fake flippers anyway. See what Dragon finds over at Zora. I think we might be in for a vanilla flippers here, to be honest. There's very few locations left, and we know where Samaria is now.
Yeah, I'd say because of Dragon's routing, he put off the hobo check area. Now he might be electing to do it if he comes back to do Ice Palace, but I was a little afraid for Kermit because if he didn't check Meyer to pick up that lamp so he could finish his dark rooms, he was going to be in trouble. But now that he has Samaria, I have a feeling he's going to make his way over there pretty quickly.
Yeah, definitely seems that way. So do we have vanilla? No,
Man.
where the heck are flippers?
What is it with NPCs handing their old bomb bags to Link this seed? It's gross and unwanted. Well, we know.
Well, there's an item in Mothula, so that might be where the flippers is, which would explain a lot. And Mothula is just a pendant, so.
Well, it could also be in Turtle Rock as well.
Well, flippers can't be in Turtle Rock because Samaria was flipper.
Oh, yes, you're right. Sorry. Good call.
I'm just thinking of the locations we have left, and I think we're pretty much narrowed down to just Mothula that hasn't been checked between either of them. Looks like Dragon's on his way to Mothula now.
Yeah, skipping the hobo check on his fake flipper route is definitely going to be costing him the maximum amount of time it could have, unfortunately. Because Skullwoods being a pendant means that if all he gets out of this is flippers, he could be in trouble.
Yeah, give Kermit a couple of minutes here of time to catch up. That'll be good for his race.
Yeah, this race definitely got interesting. Kermit does have some time to make up from having to leave pod. Interesting. Is he going to Ice Palace with this Samaria?
I think he might be worried that the lamp isn't in Meyer. The Meyer dark rooms are an almighty nightmare.
Yes, that is very true. Yeah, I think you have a good point there.
Which means he might just be under the impression that flippers are in Moth, and then we don't need flippers, so who cares? Which means the logic's leading us in the Ice Palace. Granted, did he go and check the rest of the flipper locations after Hobo?
Oh, yes, yeah, he was up to the Zora area.
Oh, cool. Didn't quite catch that.
Well, we're pretty close to finding out. We're pretty close to finding out whether or not Mothula has anything. The last item we're waiting for kind of no mode for commentary and everyone watching is where those darn boots are.
We found both items in Meyer, so it's probably safe to assume that the boots are in Ice Palace.
That is true.
All the other overworld locations that we haven't checked are boot or mirror locked. I suppose we could find mirror somewhere, and then boots could just be in Swamp Trolls.
Boots on non-green pendant, non-pedestal required Mothula. I'm gonna throw up. That's nauseating.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty.
Wow. So Dragon gets himself a really nice position here. all he really needs to do is eventually get back to Hobo for that Samaria cane, but I have a feeling we're going to see a quick desert finish, and then probably more location checking.
I think that might firmly put Dragon back in the lead.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that one. Alright, so we got Kermit setting up for his Ice Palace bomb jump here. Flippers could be a lot of places with the boots where they were. Could be here,
Kermit,
could be in King's Tomb.
I think Kermit might have fallen into the same trap I did and just focusing on one progression item. I was just focused on the flippers there and got a bit carried away. Unfortunately, he might have done as well and forgot that a different progression item might have been a Mothula.
It's certainly possible. He might also just have been like, you know what, there's one item in a pennant dungeon that I already checked once. You know, sometimes you just make gambles and lose. That is the nature of Randomizer, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. The bit spots there didn't have anything of interest.
Well, interesting. With a small key already in possession, Kermit does elect to check the Freezar chest first.
See Dragon straight back off the Desert Palace. Clean it out. Pretty sure there's an item on Lamolos, I believe, or in the big chest. It'd be very unfortunate if Ice Palace was logically our final dungeon, because the difference between a full clear and a go mode Ice Palace is night and day. Nothing in Ice Palace so far. Dragon making quick progress towards Lamolos.
Nothing says good times like doing desert with the boots. You can nail all the door dashes. Just feels good. No, the dragon did miss two of them, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a great feeling. Nice fast dungeon.
And half magic fire rod landmo is always a pleasure in my book.
Definitely. See Kermit on his way to Coulter.
Oh, looks like Lamo got a little away from Dragon, but hopefully should still be able to two-cycle this, and he does. Nice fight from Dragon there.
Yeah. Just a red rupee on Lamos.
Now Kermit will have a Tempered Sword here, whereas most likely by the time Dragon gets to Cold Stare, probably will still have Master Sword.
See
Cold Stare
Dragon
does
heading
get a
off the
little away from
Marinor.
him.
Oh, he doesn't have his Canis Mario, actually, yeah. Probably going to check Hobo then, hopefully.
So just a small key on Cold Stare. I believe I was watching Dragon's fight a little bit. I believe that's only 2 out of 3 items out of Ice Palace. I could be
Yes,
wrong.
I think his routing skipped over the so-called iced tea room, as in that bloody room that you always end up doing last.
I always refer to that as the FU chest.
Yeah. I see Dragon noticing that he has access to the pyramid free, and he's going to head up there.
Yeah, I like this play. Kermit also electing to skip that last item in Ice Palace. We know that to be the correct play, regardless of what's there, unless it's like a silvers. But even then, it's probably not worth the time to go get it. So yeah, if I was a gambling man, I'd say that flippers are probably in the pyramid here, but I've been wrong many times before. Either way, we're about to find out.
I've said the flippers have been a lot of places, and I've been wrong every time, so I'm just going to keep my shot.
See, that's the difference between you and me. You learn your lesson. I never do. Oh, there we go. Flippers. Wow, what a troll location for flippers to be.
Definitely is. See if Dragon realizes his mistake and goes and gives the hobo a visit. Because strictly speaking, he could have been in go mode a few minutes ago.
Oh, definitely. Is he turning in the pendant?
Seems that way.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing left in this area. Oh, Kermit making the hero call to go to Pendant Mothula with 1 item left. This is huge for Kermit because he is going to pick up boots here, and he's already finished up Ice Palace.
Yeah, this will definitely get him a good lead. He'll be able to head over to desert and, well, get him caught up a bit. I don't know what I would call it a lead yet.
Yeah, I'd say Kermit's going to have the knowledge advantage, but he's got a lot more dungeon cleanup to do. He needs to finish up Desert and Pod. The downside is that his reluctance to do those dungeons without the lamp is going to hurt him. He's going to have to make the call to go into Mire without the lamp if he wants to continue to put really hard progression into this seed.
Yeah, the lamp being in Mire turns out is trolling Kermit pretty hard.
Now we got a pestle check from Dragon. Mirror can't be here, but for all he knew, Samaria could be. So that is why he checked it.
Yeah, true. I wonder where Mirror is. They're probably in Ganon's tower or something stupid.
That would be my guess as well. Having to route Ganon's tower without the mirror always feels bad. Ooh, is this a hobo check I see, or is he just going into Ice Palace? This is huge. All right, I think Dragon is heading to hobo.
Yeah, this is or maybe not. Where are we going? Checking the island.
Yeah.
Get off the hobo.
Yeah, that was. I think that was Kermit's last hope, was that the longer Dragon put off the hobo check, the more time Kermit had to catch up.
And this is Dragon's a single-digit number of seconds away from hitting go mode. Kermit killed Mothula before I looked at the screen. Nice kill.
Yeah, Tempered Sword makes
Yes,
pretty
it's good.
good work of him. All right, so very nice pickup for Dragon there. That does put him in go mode, so that's Samaria for Dragon. So a real big advantage here is Dragon is going to be able to go mode Ice Palace, which Kermit had to spend time clearing, unfortunately.
Yeah, it'll definitely solidify his lead.
Kermit checking the room that he unfortunately took a Wall Master time loss in earlier. Only picks up a plastic shield.
Dragon's made good progress through this dungeon already. It shouldn't take too much to get him to Vitreous.
Yeah, I don't even remember if he has the big key or not.
I doubt he would have left the dungeon before he checked everything, because he could get to every item in the dungeon except Vitreous himself.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
very
but it
true.
seems that he did leave early.
I was so focused on Lamp being in Mire, the non-dark part of Mire, that my mind was so blown by that I wasn't paying attention to his menu. But judging on the way he's walking right now, it appears that he has the big key, and he did open the big key required door. So I'm no detective, but I'm going to consult my notes. Let's see here. Yeah, I think he probably has the big key.
I'd like to hope so, where he's doing something very, very wrong.
Yeah, he's got the a console open up on another screen. He's just madly hacking the seed as he goes. But no, he actually just has the big. So Kermit, I do like this routing here. He's trying to take advantage of the boots that he just picked up. Ooh, is this a Mire check? Or is it a desert check? Looks like a desert
Off
check.
Desert.
I don't blame him. This is a required crystal dungeon that he needs to complete anyway, so doing this first is basically the wise thing to do.
And or it's additional 2 items from the Pyramid Fairy as well, which will give him the flippers, but the flippers aren't the item he's looking for, unfortunately.
Although the worry might be if he gets flippers, he might start worrying about the one item in Ice Palace that he left behind. We got Dragon entering the Vitreous fight here.
Living on the edge.
Yeah, looks to be the case. He's got tons of arrows if he just wants to do arrow strats. It is a little slower, but not dying is much faster.
You could even just whip out the Kena Burna if he wants to hit stuff with the Master Sword that much.
Certainly possible. Jeez, he's dodging that lightning like a boss. Alright, gets through there, pumps the required number of arrows into the giant eyeball, and he will pick up his 5th crystal.
And Breedo.
So Dragon's got Go Mode Ice Palace and Go Mode Turtle Rock. I'd say the only big thing to note so far is that we still don't have silver arrows, and Kermit does have a tempered sword advantage. But unless Kermit makes the call to go straight to Mire right after this, he's going to be in a wee bit of trouble. And for those of us joining us late, yes, Kermit is looking for the lamp, because Dark Room Mire is no joke. And he still needs to go back into Pod to finish that up as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, little does he know that the lamp is actually in the light areas of Mire. The not dark areas. I mean, nice 2-cycle Lemmel's Fire Rod again.
I bet Kermit was really hoping for Lamp or something from that Landmole's fight.
He still has the Pyramid Fairy chests to look forward to, sort of. And Dragon opting to check a few chests, nice pass.
Yeah, I wonder if he's looking for a sword upgrade or silvers or something like that. The Penguin chest is relatively quick to check, so if you were going to check something in Ice Palace for an item, that would be the place to do it.
Yeah, definitely the hookshot makes short work of those guys.
And I have a feeling it's not because Dragon's probably not comfortable with Master Sword Ganon, it's just that even if you're good at it, it just takes time.
Yeah, it's a very, very long fight.
And why make something harder than it has to be? Alright, so Kermit's going to be picking up his flippers here from this Fat Fairy check, which is not going to be the progression item he was looking for.
Hopefully it doesn't take too much longer to head into Mire.
Yeah, again, the one thing I'm worried about is if he sees that Ice Palace was technically in the logic, I'm worried that he's gonna go back and check the one item in Ice Palace that he skipped instead of letting that dungeon be.
You know, let's hope that's not the case. See, Dragon making quick work of his Go mode Ice Palace.
Yeah, definitely. The one advantage Kermit will have with his planning here is that from a pure like chest per minute standpoint, 2 items in Mire potentially should be faster than a 1 long check for Ice Palace for a dungeon he's already cleared. So there's that Flipper's pickup for Kermit. This is definitely the moment of truth for Kermit. He needs to make up his mind about going to Mire. Is he just gonna go finish Pod, maybe? Yeah, he's thinking real hard about how much he wants to do Dark Rooms right now, I think. Alright, so Master Sword Cold Stare with only 5 hearts, so Dragon really needs to execute on the right side of your screen here for this fight to go well. Does get the setup. Half magic fire rod. Oh my god! One more body shot, one more anything, and Dragon is toast.
He still has that fairy he caught from earlier.
True, but I'm trying to hype up the hype, man. But you know what? It ends up being all for moot anyway because Dragon pulls it off.
I see Kermit making the correct choice and heading into Mire, sucking it up.
Yeah, he'll be taking some murder dactyl damage here as well. You can't
be very
toss
pleased
with
to find
Quake.
his lamp.
Alright, so this is real big for Kermit. Now the advantage that he'll have over Dragon when Dragon came here is that he already has Samaria, so he'll be able to finish Mire while he's here.
Yeah, the Dragon ended up having the double dip. That B-Moss really didn't like him there.
No.
Dragon heading off to Turtle Rock, his last dungeon. Well, last crystal dungeon.
So I have a feeling we might be seeing some rage sword slashes from Kermit when he finds the lantern in this aptly named Misery Mire.
I think you're probably right.
Kermit, a much more calmer individual than I am, simply takes his lamp and says, "Thank you, sir. Now I will complete this dungeon."
I definitely would have dropped at least 1 bomb in that chest.
I would have dropped F-bombs live on stream, but that's just me. So Kermit's correctly identifying that he is in go mode at this point.
And he's getting to it, heading down to Vitreous. Unfortunately, he still has Past the Darkness to make up some time, and then off to Turtle Rock.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the pod difference, this race would be a lot closer. But unfortunately, the Dark Rooms just really got the better of Kermit on this particular seed.
See Dragon finding his big key in Turtle Rock very, very early.
Yeah, Turtle Rock is all about finding the requisite number of small keys. It is nice to find the big key early though, so it won't be blocked behind like it's a vanilla location, because that costs you an extra small key you wouldn't otherwise normally check, typically. Ooh, dragon eating a roller bar for whatever meal is appropriate for the time of day. Oh wow, he picks up tempered. Oh man, that was like one of the last few advantages that Kermit might have had for clearing bosses. So a really nice pickup for Dragon there. That'll make his it turns his Master Sword Ganon fight into a Tempered Sword Ganon fight.
See, Kermit using the Kena Burner to speed up his Victorious fight.
Yep, the Kingdom Burn is interesting. You'll notice he tried to hold out his sword there. You cannot actually maintain a sword charge with the Kingdom Burner. If one way lag. You can, yeah, exactly. One way you can take advantage of the Kingdom Burner though is if you simply activate the Kingdom Burner, you can do what Kermit did there and use the boots to damage the eyes. You can also just stand there and spam slash, and you will very, very slowly drain the mana on the Kingdom Burner. So if all you have is a sword and Kena Burna, you can still get quite a bit of damage in on Vitreous using just those two things.
Definitely handy if you don't have a bow or something going into that fight.
Yeah, you never. It's always good to have alternate strats prepared for various rooms because you never know, what exactly you're going to get when you have to fight certain bosses. Dragon curiously opening up the chest there. He already had the big key, so saving a small key is typically the preferred way to go through Turtle Rock there, when you're doing it in Go mode anyway.
Maybe fishing for silvers or the last sword upgrade, which we know is on Spike Cave.
Or maybe he just really enjoys the tubes in Turtle Rock.
The sound effects are pretty cool. I love farting about in those tubes.
Yeah, it makes a really satisfying thunk noise. It makes you wonder if Link is just dashing through the tubes and just running into every single corner.
No, he's not doing that because it doesn't progress the bonk counter.
Get out of here with your facts, sir. Let me have my sweet, sweet ignorance. Oh wow, mirror in Turtle Rock. Wow. Well, that'll make G Tower routing a little bit more convenient.
Someone checked Turtle Rock before other dungeons and then left that room again and did Mimic Cave. It's just mirror just right there.
I do enjoy seeing mirrorless Ganon's Tower routing just because it's interesting. It comes up so rarely that it's always interesting to see how runners, kind of opt to set up for it if they weren't prepared for it mentally. Because the way you choose to approach the Ganon's Tower routing can really be different when you don't have the mirror, because you have to death warp or walk your butt out to the entrance if you want to climb the tower once you find that big key.
Yeah, it definitely makes for more interesting routing, but unfortunately we won't be seeing that today.
Nope. Although we could see, depending on the key layout, we could see Kermit skipping that chest. It's certainly possible. Ether on the laser bridge. Got a nice one laser skip dash from Dragon there.
Actually finds his key on the third chest.
Interesting. He checked all those other chests earlier in the seed, but decided to skip the last laser bridge chest. If Ganon says, "Did you find my silver arrows in Turtle Rock?" he's going to be a little annoyed.
That'll be quite funny.
He'll be annoyed, but I'll have myself a giggle.
Oh, I think everyone except him will love that.
Oh no, Dragon doing the Samaria too fast and magically fall through the block technique. That's always a good time.
Opting to take out the ice head first.
Yeah, you do have to start with the fire side if you want to have the earliest damage access, but Dragon takes a death but still has the fairy.
See Kermit on the other screen making short work of Helm Score with his tempered sword.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of runners opting to kill the ice head first just because it leaves that annoying ice trail. Ooh, Dragon taking more damage from Trinex. Oh, jeez, that was close. Good lord, ah! I don't think he has 2 fairies, does he?
I don't think he does.
God, jeez. Trinex just trying to give him a shave there. Good lord, that was close. One more hit. Come on, Dragon, clutch it out. Yeah, there we go. He makes it. Jeez. He's just trying to keep things interesting. He's an entertainer. I can respect that.
Yeah, seems fair. It's always the time you're like, I've got loads of hearts. I have a fairy. I don't need the safety exit in Turtle Rock.
Oof. Man, all these clench boss fights, man.
Yeah, they've definitely been entertaining. Between Kermit's early blind fight and then these boss fights by Dragon.
All right, well, it's that time once again, guys. It's time for the big key guessing game. So, for those of you that have subscribed or donated 250 bits to any of the Speed Gaming channels, you can put your guess. There are 22 possible locations that the big key can be in. So get your guesses out. We'll be closing it quite shortly here. Well, where do you like the big key to be, Leon?
I've still never seen it in the Fireball Room, so I'm gonna guess the Fireball Room.
That's respectable. I always like to see the Randomizer Room, because it's the room named after the Randomizer.
Yep, fair enough. It's the room that you never see, except in Randomizer.
Alright, so everyone that guessed chest 1 and 2, you're already out. Ooh, Dragon opting to use the extra small key. Interesting choice.
I don't see that every day.
It does mean you have to dig for more extra small keys. It can often be a time save, but it is definitely a risky play. If you didn't have the mirror, I think that would be a lot more justifiable, but we'll see how it ends up going. Ooh, the cape is a nice safety to have for the Ganon fight.
Definitely so. Can speed it up a lot as well.
Wow, I hate this room so much. Half the reason I prefer Dark Magician strats is because you can just mirror out of that cursed room. But Dragon eventually gets his revenge on that Red Stompos.
There's my choice out the window.
That was 8, am I correct?
Yeah.
Yep. So anyone that guessed 8 or lower, dreams are crushed. Randomizer room. The dream is still alive. Meanwhile, Kermit picking up his butter sword.
You'll be pleased to see that.
Alright, here we go. Chest number 9. It's a key, but not large enough for Dragon's taste.
Little baby key.
Alright, the dream is alive for Randomizer room. I got 4 chances. That's why I like to save rooms that are large, because it increases the chances of me being right. It's cheating in a way, really. Alright, I believe that was chests 9 through 12, I believe? I'm so terrible at this.
Chest number 13 was the last chest number.
Oh, chest number 13. Oh, yeah, that sounds correct. Why they give me the power to run this chess bot is absolutely beyond me. Alright, chat's got my back as well as Liliana. Thanks, guys. Counting is super hard.
Yeah, I actually have a pen and paper and I'm just tallying.
Thank you for being infinitely more professional than I am. Alright, well, I'm going to stop naming numbers. We're moving on to the next chest. Got to say hi to Bob. Dragon took some damage from Bob.
Ice armors with no silvers. This is always fun.
You have a different idea of fun than I do, sir.
It's fun for me. Nothing for the runner. He's getting it quite nicely.
Dragon opted to go for the quick kill setup, but unless you are super crisp on your Ice Armos execution, it's typically better. Wow, vanilla big key.
That's number 15.
All right. So anybody that guessed key number 15. Looks like the closest guess was from Snooze Kikubi. I'm sure I just destroyed that guy's name, but well done. Kermit picking up the mirror. That'll help him out with his G Tower running there. If I was Dragon, I would have considered checking those last two chests for one more key. You need a bare minimum of one extra small key when you head up to Ganon's tower to ensure your ability to get through, but not having to kill an extra Helmasaur, a mini Helmasaur, is a nice little bit of a time save you can get.
Sure, we'll see Dragon make short work of this gauntlet. He's a little low in life.
Just a little bit. I have a feeling Dragon might make a trip to the with the so-called recovery room, assuming he doesn't take a cannonball to the face here. Nope, he dodges expertly.
Is the reason that bonks are in the logic?
Yep. Because there is literally no other way to get to that room unless you're a dirty cheater.
We still call him hovering dirty cheating?
Even though we're not supposed to. In my heart, it still is. I made a promise to myself long ago that if the randomizer scene ever became competitive enough where I had to actually sit down and learn hovering, that I was going to be like, all right, you guys win.
Actually, know a few streamers that are extremely top tier Link to the Past runners and randomizer runners that just refuse to learn to hover because it breaks controllers.
Oh yeah, agreed. It's also super hard on your fingers. Also, I'm a crotchety old man. I had to complain about something. I'm with Patty
I don't
on
know
this
most
one.
of the dark rooms. I'm not going to learn hovering anytime soon.
Kermit making very quick work of Trinex with his delicious cholesterol sword. Ooh, and a very nice setup for Trinex there. Well executed boss fight.
Yeah. He'll be on his way to Ganon's tower soon as well.
Well, Dragon definitely has a several minutes lead on Kermit. You can never count anybody out when you've got Master Sword, or excuse me, when you've got Silverless Ganon on the table. Because all it takes is a fall or two for that fight to get a lot closer than it would be normally.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity to run out of magic, or just lots of attempts to take falls as well. Lots of things that can go wrong.
I always thought that the Ganon fight was a pretty appropriate final boss fight for this game. A lot of games you get to and the final boss is a pushover or has some dumb trick that just makes him not a real fight. But Ganon is actually legit.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very threatening final boss. The second phase especially can kill you.
Wow.
No matter the defense.
Dragon just randomly checking these two chests up here, and the first pull is silver arrows.
Well, so much for a challenging Ganon fight.
Yeah, we spent all this time talking about trying to set the stage for the Silverless Ganon fight. Thanks for making us look bad, Dragon.
See Kermit heading right side.
Yeah, and that will unfortunately cost him some time.
Not too much. Like it's the key's all nice almost. If he heads right through, he might be able to make it up. But if he mirrors from the conveyor belt room, that is the typical choice, he's going to be here a while.
Yeah, full right side would be a bold play, and it would be the correct one actually. It would be the fastest way to get there. Meanwhile, dragonc0 has busted out his protractor. He's ready for aginah too. Oh, math is super hard with aginah too, unfortunately. He's getting some bad patterns and some bad blue balls.
Nice double there, however. We'll make it up for it. There's probably a single there. They look very, very close together.
We get a one lone rage slash from Dragon there.
And there we go. Off to Ganon.
The ghost of Ganon. If he can turn into a bat, why doesn't he turn into a bat? He only throws fire bats during the actual fight. That always confused me. And also, I still don't know how Swagdog manages to get into the Dark World. There's just a lot of plot holes in this game.
Yeah, there's a lot of plot holes in like the last 5 minutes of the game. The rest of the game's pretty consistent, and it's like, nope, you can suddenly use the flute in Dark World inside.
Although people looking for stability from their story and lore in a Zelda game should probably be looking elsewhere.
Most definitely.
Dragon opting to take advantage of the fairy in the bonk tree down there. His health was a little low. So, not doing 3 hard Ganon, probably a good idea.
Yeah, seems like the correct choice.
And with tempered and silvers, I expect Dragon to make pretty quick work again in here.
See, phase 2 started. We have some fire bats on the way, using the hook shots invincibility frames to dodge those.
See, here are those darn bats, but they're they're made of fire. Now, if Ganon had turned into a fire bat and flown away, I'd have been more okay with that. But you know what? It's not up to me, which is probably a good thing. Alright, a bit of an extended phase 2 for Dragon here, but I believe that was the requisite number of slashes.
He gets a spinny firing.
Ooh, takes a little bit of damage. Yep, opting to use that potion now. Why wait? Any other hit from pretty much anything would have been a death there for Dragon.
It's a red potion he bought in a house in Dark World, like in Village of Outcasts, ages ago.
Yeah, like an hour ago. It's amazing how a little bit of planning can end up saving you potentially minutes. As he sets up for the torch glitch and does get it. Alright, that's the 3rd shot. One more and he will be home free.
And there we go.
Alright, that is a dead pig. So, bust out your GGs for Dragon. He put on a pretty good show here. Definitely some good showing, good routing. Some really solid execution from a lot of boss fights. So it looks like he finishes with an approximate time of 1 hour, 53 minutes, and 34 seconds.
Kermit picking up his big key. He'll be heading up the gauntlet now. Be joining Dragon in the finish line in another 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, we'll see if we can't get Dragon in here for an interview. But in the meantime, we'll be checking out Kermit's Ganon's tower climb. And boy, if you're ever at or close to the final ascent of Ganon's tower when your opponent finishes, you can't feel too bad, because that means it was a very close race, and this definitely was a close race.
Yeah, both players had their fair share of issues. Dragon just had slightly fewer.
Yeah, in the end, the time loss from not having Lantern and having to double dip a couple of dungeons just ended up being a little bit too much time than what Kermit could absorb. But there was definitely a very interesting back and forth. A couple of times we had both runners going in separate directions, finding different progression items. It was a very interesting race.
Yeah, and Kermit got his cane a lot earlier. If he had have took that time to go into Mara straight away, he would have had an enormous lead. Unfortunately, he opted to do Ice Palace, which that difference cost him a few minutes.
Oh yeah, I mean, from his point of view, like I definitely understood where he was coming from. It just didn't end up paying off, unfortunately. The real decider here is going to be whether or not Kermit picks up the silver arrows on a whim, the same way the dragon did. And nothing warms my cold, dead heart like seeing B strats in the gauntlet. This is worth the price of admission right here, folks. Look at that good B, just putting in work.
Yeah, it is clean up.
I'd much rather have that kind of amazing action than getting just 100 gold from the bottle vendor.
No, you don't sell bees. Bees are friends.
Bees are your friends. They make delicious honey. They're involved in the setup and production of so many of the foods that we enjoy. Now, hornets are jerks. Those guys sting you. No, they don't care. They're just jerks. But your traditional honeybees, those guys are awesome. Wow, Kermit with a simultaneous sword slash on the Landmo 2 kill. That was beautiful. You don't see that very often.
Yeah, definitely not. That was a very impressive kill.
2-cycle Buttersword Landmo is not free. So that was cool to see. Kermit's pulling out all the cool swag tricks for this Ganon's tower climb here.
And cane blocks are getting away from him there.
Yeah, Cane of Samaria definitely one of the more unique items at the time this game came out. You know, being able to create your own blocks, having them explode in 4 cardinal direction fireballs. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely remember before I joined the randomizer community, like I didn't really see a lot of good uses for the Cane of Samaria, but seeing the Wizard rooms and the gauntlet done like that, it's extremely impressive. And then seeing them being used for hitting switches and whatnot in Turtle Rock, a lot of creative uses for them.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, looks like we are joined by our winner, Dragon, and oh wow, Kermit just picked up those silvers. Nice. GG, Dragon. Congrats on your victory.
Thank you.
Yeah, good game, well played.
Yeah, that was pretty scary though.
Yeah, that was quite an interesting seed. Both you and your opponents went off in a couple different directions, finding different progression items a few times. But I'd say probably the biggest troll for you was that Cane of Samaria location, right at the end there.
Yeah, I was more worried about like I missed boots, flippers, mirror, and cane, and I had like nowhere to go. I was so confused on that. Took me a while to find my way out of that situation, and after that it went pretty fast though, so that really helped.
Yeah, the key seemed to be deciding to go to Skull Woods to pick up those boots. What made you decide to go back to one item Skull Woods for the check? Was it just instinct, or you wanted to make a gamble, or?
I knew I left an item behind and I couldn't leave it behind. I was scared. Like I said, I didn't have that many places to go, so I decided to dip the pendant and maybe get a pedestal on the way, but I forgot I didn't have like mirror to get there. So,
yeah, it's always interesting to see a late mirror seed because it definitely affects your routing.
Yeah, definitely.
So the other question I have to ask you is, How did you feel about finding the silvers where you found them?
I was so glad I actually found them. I was scared they were next to the big key, and I mirrored too early. I was like, no, I missed 2 chests. No, what if silvers are in there? But luckily they weren't.
Were you just so happy that you found that big key that you were just ready to move on to the next phase?
Yeah, I was like, big key, let's go. Oh wait, 2 chests.
It's such a different feeling when you're in a live tournament versus a normal seed. Like, you know, little things like that do definitely affect you.
Yeah. I was glad I found my the tempered sword in T-Rock. That was nice. Made me worry a little bit less about silvers, so that was nice.
Yeah, Master Sword Tempered, or excuse me, Silverless Tempered is much better than Master Sword Tempered, and it's half the hits.
Definitely.
Your opponent did find Tempered before you did. The other sword upgrade was actually in Burna Spike Cave.
Yeah. That's always a weird place to route in.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird one, and especially with the way the logic can or cannot have it be in play based on, you know, what other items you have. It's always difficult to kind of find the good time to route it in.
Yeah. Blue cane was early though, so it was pretty early in play, but I just never decided to go there.
Alright, so we got Kermit entering the final phase, setting up that torch glitch. Ooh, using the dash to get 2 arrows in. Well played for him there.
Yeah, that was a nice double.
Ah! Oh my gosh. Ah! That was like a quarter of a tile. Ah, but he pulls it off. Alright guys, bust out your GGs for Kermit.
Yeah, it was a great Ganon fight.
Yeah, had a very nice finish despite getting a little trolled by the lantern location. Managed to finish with a pretty solid 2 hours, 1 minute, and about 48 seconds, I think it was. So we'll see if we can't get Kermit in here for an interview. Excellent. So Kermit's going to take a second. Oh, it looks like we are joined by Kermit. GG, Kermit.
Yeah, GG.
I only have one question for you, my friend. How do you feel about that lamp location inside Non-Dark Mire?
I pretty much knew it had to be somewhere there, but yeah, the beginning was kind of too tilting for me, a little bit, sadly. It ruined the game.
Yeah, there were a lot of kind of potentially trolly item locations, but I do want to give you props. I was super impressed with your swordless hammer blind kill, by the way. That was a joy to watch.
Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic.
it was close. So
Yeah, you were walking into blind with 7 hearts. The only way to damage blind was hammer, and you had blue mail, and you still had 2 hearts to spare at the end. I was straight up impressed.
I was so sad that he didn't have anything.
It would have made the sacrifice worth it.
Yeah. Oh man, so many deaths. Oh, feels bad.
Well, to be fair, some of those deaths were planned death warps and heart refills, right, Kappa?
Yeah. Kappa.
So do you have any other thoughts on that seed there, Kermit? Sorry, I kind of blasted you with the questions right away.
No, that's fine. I was hoping that I don't know, with Dragon, did you find Quake early? Like, I was pretty happy when I found it in Hera, but I guess.
Yeah, I found it pretty early.
Okay.
I haven't checked any medallions
was-
yet, so
You Your routing in and around that area was quite funny, actually. You were both in Tower of Hera at the same time. There was a lot of your Death Mountain route was basically at exactly the same time.
Wow.
It was a joy to see because you seem to always split up and go to 2 different locations and get 2 different progression items, and then immediately do what the other person just did, and then go and do something together.
Yeah, that was pretty
high-fived
cool.
like 5 times. It was great.
Did you have any trouble at some point, or what was it like? Did you get anything fast? So where was our difference? Like, or did it just like? Was it just my death and pretty bad play?
The big difference, at least from a watching perspective, was unfortunately the having to leave pod when you didn't have the lantern and not being able to complete it was a pretty big time loss, because you had to route your way all the way back to it again. So that was probably 5 or 6 minutes would be my guess.
Oh yeah.
That's definitely a big difference.
The other major difference was Kermit, you opted to do Ice Palace relatively early and ended up full clearing it, and Dragon had the opportunity to just go mode it after he eventually found the Cane of Samaria, which he didn't actually sequence break for, unlike you.
Yeah.
I don't blame you for the Ice Palace play, because for all you knew, Samaria or Lantern, could have been in there. It just wasn't the case.
Yeah. I was so afraid during some of the dungeon. I missed one chest in Eastern Palace. I didn't get to the chest in the bottom of Ice Palace. I was so afraid that I missed items there, but yeah, I guess it worked out anyways.
Yeah, the one item that was left in Ice Palace, I was super worried for you that you were going to grab the flippers from the pyramid and then be like, well, I guess I'm going back into Ice Palace.
I was thinking about going to Swamp first, but before Mire, but glad I didn't do that. That would have been even worse.
Well, yeah, luckily for everybody involved, the mirror was never really in play until, middle Turtle Rock, and by that point, everyone was in go mode anyway. Yeah, definitely a very interesting seed. The game wanted you to double dip Mire and Pod, I believe. You had to enter 2 pendant dungeons, so definitely another great example of how a randomizer seed can play out. So it was a joy and a treat commentating your race, guys. You put on a great show.
Yeah, thanks for commentating.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts from you two before we wrap this up?
My enemies better hope that I find the lamp late, because otherwise I won't lose again. Oh yeah, and good luck for your next races, Dragon.
Yeah, you too.
Excellent. Well, that'll be it for us here at the randomizer tournaments. Thanks for joining us. It was a great match. Make sure you give a follow to the Speed Gaming family of channels. Speed Gaming 1 through 6. They're putting on some great shows. I know the NMG Link to the Past tournament's going on. Of course, this tournament continues to play out. There's going to be a lot more randomizer action here. And also make sure you give our runners a follow. Both these guys put on a great show for us tonight. So make sure you give them the nod as well. And otherwise, my name is Files, and I was joined by Ileana here on commentary.
Thank you for having me.
We had a great time.
Yeah. Shout out to our tracker Oddballs as well. He did a fantastic job.
Yes, indeed. So thanks for joining us, guys. We will see you next mission.
See you all next week.